Hello, my name's Paul Wilkinson, and I'm here today with Edward Foster, the artist and musician and everything.
Thank you.
And this is just a YouTube video, just with my friend here, really talking about our creative process. So when did you first start becoming really interested in drawing?
Well, that was something that I've always done. So it's a childhood thing.
Right. Okay.
So, but like any child, really, any chance to be creative is a natural thing for them. So, it's, we use, of course, when we talk about drawing, you mean primarily pencil, etc.
Yeah.
So I guess, yes, drawing with a pencil, I guess earliest memories, crayons, pencils, when 3-4 years. But it's, whatever material comes to hand, you kind of create with that, don't you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've always drawn, and I guess with music it must be very different, because you might maybe singing perhaps, or making sounds in nature, etc. But you have an instrument then, don't you?
Yeah, and it's the cheapest and the freest instrument, and you can immediately sing. I find that really interesting what Eddie's saying there, because watching my son draw, he's just been drawing for 3 weeks, and it's just non-stop, well, more than that, weeks and weeks, and it's just like, he does the process, it's on to the next thing. It's not like it's a package that he's getting prepared, ready to release or share with the world. It's just the process of doing it.
It's very natural, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like the most natural thing.
This is what he wants to do. He wants to just be creative, because being creative is, it is what we are, human beings. The human soul is to be creative. It's
Absolutely.
essential. If you take that away, imagine taking that away from your son. The chance to be creative.
Yeah.
What would happen?
Yeah. Well, the flower would have died.
Yeah.
It would have wilted away. It would have.
But it's a natural way of being. It's not as if like, oh, you're going to do some drawing, you're going to do this. You're going to be creative, and you're going to use whatever materials you have to hand to be creative.
Yeah.
In what style you wish to be. It's a
Absolutely.
natural thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, for instance, for yourself, when you're playing music. Okay, yes. So you're playing the piano. You're well known for playing the piano, and you're composing music on that. There's a natural part of you there, isn't it? It's natural for you to do that. It's not like there's a piano and you're here, and those two things are separate, even though they are separate entities. When they come together, it's one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. It's kind of, gosh, how to explain it really? But it's just at one with the instrument, and a way of expressing yourself, and it happens to be a piano. If it was something else, I would try my best to try and and I have tried with other instruments to try and express myself, but because over the years I've built up a technical ability to use the piano, it's the best way I can express it is through the piano.
So you've had to, obviously, because that's your material in a way, the piano is.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you've had to work really darn hard at building up all your skills to be able to then perform on it and write on it and compose on it and create,
Absolutely,
the music on it to where you want to be, to that vision that's inside of you. So obviously you've had to work at that.
Yeah.
But that creative surge that comes through you when you're playing, do you feel that that's always been with you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think. Gary Peacock, who's an American jazz bass player, always says it's not something you learn; it's something you are.
Yeah.
And did you feel the same about you with your art? Was it something that was?
Yes. Very much so. Obviously, again, I've had to really work down hard at the techniques of it, and I still am.
Yeah. So am I. I'm still learning. Still working really hard every day.
The learning is a beautiful thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the process of it, isn't it? That, as I said to Eddie, I've been playing Bach for weeks and weeks, but I'm not playing Bach for anybody else.
Yeah.
It's just for me. It's just for me.
So with art, yes, I've always created art, but I remember when I was younger and having visions in my mind and feelings and not being able to fully get them out without the technique. So I've had to work.
Right,
We've had
okay,
to get
yeah.
to get the visions out as best as I possibly can. But I also remember being able to get the visions out in some way. You know, even
Right,
if
yeah.
the techniques weren't brilliant, there were still coming out these unique visions. And when I teach art
Right.
to people of all backgrounds, capabilities, ages, etc.,
Yeah.
they always have this beautiful, unique vision,
Mm.
which is superb. So, and that's their soul that's coming out.
Yeah.
So then they just develop the techniques that enable them to show their soul in more finished ways, shall we say? You
Yeah.
know. But that continues. It's to
Yeah,
continue with
Yeah,
me.
absolutely, yeah.
So,
And I suppose it's, in a way, I often think about this when I'm walking down in my local town and I walk past somebody, I think, I could have just walked past an amazing musical soul, but they've never had the opportunity to touch an instrument,
yes.
maybe to express that. And of course, like we said, the human voice is the free instrument, we all have it, and it's probably one of the most deeply profound, well, it's the best instrument, probably, that there is, you know, and it's a way of expressing stuff, and it's there, and I wish more, particularly in schools, they would use the voice more, you know, particularly in the schooling system, to encourage them to sing.
Yeah.
And I think me and my wife have played, I've not mentioned this to you, but me and my wife have played a small part in helping funding a film which is coming out soon called, I think it's along the titles of Self-Directed Learning or something around. I think it's going to be called Self-Taught is the film. It's out very soon, so keep an eye out for that. And it's got all people on, and it's just showing you how we direct our own learning. Would you not agree? You know, that we're real great self-directors.
Yes, of course, yeah. And and self-directing isn't very straightforward. It goes everywhere. You have
It's very
you
higgledy-piggledy.
I mean,
Yeah.
these are difficult words I'm going to say now. We make mistakes or errors, but it's not we're learning in it, because you have to work out how to do something.
Yes.
So sometimes you think, wow, how do I do that?
So you're saying you're going to be wrong before you're right.
Well, you're going to explore before you know which way you're going.
Yeah.
You know, so and that's exciting, because actually through exploring what some people might term as being wrong, etc., you actually learn a lot in that, and stuff that you learn there can be used in different things or for further on along this path that you
Absolutely,
found
yeah.
your way along. You might go, oh, I've got to do this. I've got to paint this picture in this certain way. It's really, really important that I do that, like that, and you find it. But as you find that way, you go off on different variations and branches, and you find these exciting things which are absolutely wonderful. And you think, oh my goodness, I've gathered all these things for a future exploration of different things.
Because
So,
learning's not, it's all very higgledy-piggledy, and it's lots of different things that add up to the sum of learning a subject.
it's not straightforward.
It's not a straightforward curriculum laid out by somebody or an order that you should follow to
You can't just go from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 to 3 to 4. It doesn't follow like that. It's everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, but then you can look back at it and you can see and think, well, that leads to this, that leads to that. So
Yeah.
hindsight on these things are absolutely wonderful, but you've got to get there. So you're going across uncharted territory, which you do not know. When you get across it, then you can start to make a map of where you've just been.
Yeah. And I think it does help, and I'll use this word, but it does help to have a guru there to help you out along the way, you know, when you've got some difficulties.
Yeah,
You agree,
oh, yeah.
having somebody who you can just say, you know, if you were doing this,
Yeah.
But it's not in that formal setting of this curriculum set out, because that's not how we learn.
No, you need teachers, and teachers come in different guises.
Yeah,
Different
absolutely.
guises, you know.
Might not be called teachers.
Yeah. It can just vary so much. It is great if you have certain people who you look up to, who really understand you and help guide you, as you say. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's really essential, and it's great that they can vary too. You don't have to be in just the same. You know, you could be learning something, and the person who helps you could be in a completely different discipline, a different way of being completely.
Yeah, completely. It might not be the subject at all.
Not at all, no.
Yeah.
No. You can be inspired by many things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Many people, you know.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so do you feel, Do you feel that people have lost touch with the, if I can phrase it that way, lost touch with their creative side due to sort of my favourite word, our monoculture that we have? This kind of one story tells all about climbing the economic ladder and aiming for this next thing and the next thing. As Alan Watts says, the next thing's coming, the next great thing.
Yeah.
And you get to 44 and you realise you still feel the same as when you were 8.
Yeah. Yes, very very much so. It can be. Yes, it is. I do feel that, because you said about, do you think people have lost their creativity?
Yeah, or not, or lost connection with it. I don't mean, I think we're all creative, like you've said before, but have they lost it completely, lost sense of being creative due to the culture around them, the mirrors they keep saying that tell them they should be doing, and they're not dancing, and they're not singing, and they're not drawing, and they're not playing music?
I think they've lost their chaotic creativity, which is unstructured, which is the greatest creativity.
Yeah.
Because in that, it's coming out from you, and this amazing uniqueness that everybody is, and yet this uniqueness has deep connections with everybody else too. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that raw state of creativity, which is a human soul that comes out, can often get pushed away or not be allowed to flourish, and that's when you have the people who are on the edge,
Yeah.
who then are what we might term as ahead of the time, or certainly unique to their time.
Yeah.
But you need those people because they push the boundaries. So that's always happened. But perhaps now, what we might term as being creative in the arts world, shall we say?
Yeah.
Let's use that. That can get channeled into one way of being, which is sad, because you need creativity to be a tangle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that people are worried about their own spontaneous creativity sometimes because they feel like they're not allowed to express it. I think that's
right,
the worry.
Yeah. And do you feel that's because of the restrictions of society, and well, John does that, so I should do that?
Yeah, and I would imagine that's always happened in some ways. But yes, of course, sort of peer pressure in a way, there's that, and the way of behaving, the way you should do things, and also how we value creativity as well, and arts,
so you mean,
music,
right,
etc. And what time we give to it. People going in an art gallery, for instance, how long would someone go in an art gallery and look at a picture for?
Right,
5 seconds, 6 seconds. And would they look at the picture? Would they look at the label?
Yeah.
For instance.
Mm.
So, listen to a bit of music. Would they put music on, but not really listen, just have it on?
Yeah.
Or would they sit down and listen to music too, and see live music too, go and watch a concert, concentrating deeply on that music and experience too?
Mm.
So perhaps we've become more. It's more. We don't give enough time to things, shall we say? So it's very quick turnover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we've lost a lot of patience for spending time to contemplate
or
things.
lost attention to focus our attention. Yes. Similar things.
Attention. Attention is that's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right, and we don't have time. We don't tend to spend time focusing on it. Because a lot of times in school, the bell goes and they're off to the next subject, and the kids probably sat there still wanting to do some drawing or something. They've got to go to maths. That'd have been you, would it? Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, and music as well, and the way we sort of grade it as being a sort of lesser importance.
I mean, I guess with things like grading, you
sort of downgrade it, don't you?
Music. I remember at school, I had the choice between doing music or PE. Right. And of course, I wanted to play football and play out.
Well, see, that's a false decision, isn't it? Yeah.
That's nonsense. And music is just as important as anything. It certainly is very much, and so is art and dance and poetry. These are, in fact, if you took away those things, the human soul would die.
Yeah.
It would die.
Yeah.
We would just be bodies, just
absolutely.
functioning. This is. I'm not being pretentious or anything like this. It's our human soul. You know, like a tree and leaves it. You know, unfurls its leaves. A bird feathers. We have to create in our own way. And this is our beautiful way of expressing what this divine wonder in the world that we don't quite know how to understand it, but we express it through our creativity as best we can, because we want to understand what it means.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to understand what life is.
Oh, and when you look at young children like babies, if you really observe them closely, you'll see that's just in abundance, and they've not lost any of that.
Well, they come out all wise, don't they?
Yeah, and and they're constantly trying things and developing things, and they've not lost. Well, they've not had enough time to be moulded into our culture.
You need to play and be your own chaotic self. Be your own chaotic self, and don't neaten yourself up. In the way that you behave.
I like that.
Of course you got to be able to function and do things like that too. But your creativity, it can be a beautiful thing and a blessing.
Yeah.
But it comes out. It's born out of what we might term as being chaotic.
Yeah.
But if you think of it in the grand scheme of things, it's a beautiful song of the universe.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I'm sure in your day it's not a paint from there. I bet there's a bit of painting, a bit of this, some of that, a walk, some more of that, a bit of this, but that's your day. That's how you. So some people say, "Oh, there's a lot of time when you're not doing anything."
Yeah.
You
need to have time.
I'm saying this gently, but you need to have all this time. Is so important, isn't it, as a creative person?
You can't just produce.
Yeah.
You need to have time to consider and contemplate.
Yeah. And so in our monoculture that would be seen as, oh, it's not doing anything.
Yeah, no.
But you're doing everything,
The contemplation is the creativity.
Yeah.
That is the explosion of this gem of ideas and trying to understand the profoundness of things. And then that's when you take that back and you put it into the chosen medium that you use to express how you feel.
Yourself, yeah.
And try and understand things.
Yeah.
This is, it's very difficult to say what is the right way of being and how we should learn things, how we should do this. It's very hard, and we have systems, schools, education, etc. We've had to develop these. But do they work? And do they give each individual the chance to really show their beautiful soul? That's the question we've got to ask. And I think, no.
No, they don't.
They don't.
John Taylor Gatto, the favourite, wrote this great book called The Weapons of Mass Instruction. And he said schools school very well, but they don't educate. Which I really like. And he's an interesting chap if you want to read some of his books. But I think you're right, and we're all autonomous, aren't we? We all learn in different ways.
Yes, yeah, we do. We have our own unique self, but we can come together and create wonder.
Absolutely.
This is why it's very hard to put it into categories and to make
words
it one way of
appropriate.
being. You can't just say it's got to be this way.
No, you can. No, it can't be this way. So central government decide this is the way you learn this or this. It's not. Or you do a graded piano pieces. This is how you learn. It's not.
No.
We don't learn like that.
It isn't. That could be a small part of the whole learning, but it'd be a small part of it.
Absolutely, only.
This is why it's very hard to try and work out a system for it. It is hard. This is why we have to let ourselves flourish, but we have to then work out how we can flourish in the ways that we've developed as well too, and yet still have that beautiful uniqueness that we've always had.
Yeah,
it's a great soul.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that might be a nice point to leave our conversation today. Do you think?
That could be.
Yeah, we might.
So.
If people actually, if anybody watches this, we might do another.
Yes.
But yes, so goodbye from me, Paul Wilkinson, and goodbye from.
Bye from me, Eddie.
We'll see you again. Bye bye.
Ciao.